Today, we're going to look at a wide angle and a macro lens for your Sony ZV-1. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Phil with Tech Gear Fun here today. I'm going to have a look at this Ulanzi lens. It's a macro and a wide angle lens. So it comes in a few pieces. You can see here, you've got the piece that is the macro lens, which basically is a diopter. And then you screw on the other part that makes it a wide angle lens. Also comes with a lens cap, which you don't see here, but it does come with a back cap as well. So what is this lens meant to do? You can see it here on the Sony ZV-1. It's meant to be both a macro and a wide angle lens. So I'm going to take this out into the field. I'm going to show you what it looks like in macro mode. Also, the field of view increase that you can get on the ZV-1. ZV-1 is a great camera. One of the big knocks is that it's wide. The view's not wide enough really for vlogging. So this will expand the view, and I could tell you numbers. I think it ends up being something like a 18 millimeter or something to that effect. But what I want to do is take you out into the field, actually show you what it looks like, and then you can kind of see the difference in the field of view for wide angle, also what it will look like for macro. So let's head out into the field. I'll give you a couple video clips, and then we'll come back in and we'll talk a little bit more about this. All right, here we are outside, showing you video with no adapter on. I'll make this walk a couple of times. I'll do a comparison. That noise you hear is the fountain. I'm using a ceramic mic. I'll put the information on screen. Actually, a little tiny mic that swivels so you can vlog, and also from behind you can give your narration. Pretty cool little mic. I think it's about 25 bucks, but that's the sound that you're hearing from that ceramic mic. So again, this is at the normal, with the normal lens I should say, at its widest, which is equivalent to 24 or so. I'm going to throw that wide angle lens on and also give you some footage with the macro lens, which should be interesting. But one more pass here. So that is without the lens. I'm just going to hold the lens up and then we'll actually screw it on in a second, but it does come with a lens cap, which you probably want to take off. And so that is with it on and with it off. With it on, with it off. I'll go ahead and screw it on and then we'll check it out. Okay, and now this is with it on. I chose this spot because the sun is shining. I want to check if there are any flares with it. Also check the corner sharpness. We'll do a corner sharpness test in a minute, but this is the same, walking the same path with this wide angle lens holding at arm's length. So you can definitely see, as you saw in the previous clip, there's a definitely increase in the field of view. And this is interesting. Kind of saw some of the construction, the way it's put together. It's got a macro lens that you put on like a diopter, and then you screw the wide angle on top. So we're going to do some macro video in a second here too, but let's just check out the corner sharpness. A la camera conspiracies. It's good content. Sorry. Check out the corners. See how sharp the corners are. And this is with active steady shot on, so the stabilization shouldn't be affected by the lens, but pay attention if there's any crazy warpiness. And this is auto exposure, by the way, on that f1.8. So what I'll do now is I'll throw on or take off the wide angle and do some macro. I've got some pine cones here. I think I can get some macro shots of so you can see how the macro lens works. Okay, this is without the macro lens. Get as close as we can. Still get pretty close. But I'll go ahead and put on the macro lens now. We'll see how much closer we can get. Okay, so here's with the macro lens. I'm practically touching the pine cone. You can see that detail. Doesn't focus, as you can see, and normally you have to kind going to use it like this for macro. So that's one thing to keep in mind. If you have that macro on, you're really only going to use it for macro purposes. Again, it doesn't focus very well without it. Alright, well here we are back with the wide angle on. Just give you a couple more seconds of that. One thing I would say, when I use this, it's pretty hefty, so I am definitely going to remove it before I turn it on and turn it off. I don't want to put any extra stress on the motors. That's my biggest concern. The build quality is really good. It's fairly heavy, so you just want to keep that in mind when you're zooming, and also when you turn the camera on and off. You might just want to turn it on, take it off, turn it on, put the lens on, and then take the lens off before you turn it off. That way you decrease the stress on the motors. So let's go back into the studio. I'll give you my final thoughts and we'll wrap up this video on the Ulanzi ZV-1. I think that's what it's called. If not, I'll correct it. But that's WA1. Anyway, we'll go back to the studio, give you my final thoughts, and we'll wrap up this review. Okay, so those were the clips from the field. You can definitely tell that you're getting a wider field of view. The concern, I mentioned it in the field as well, is that it's a fairly large and heavy lens, and when you extend it, it's going to definitely stress your motors out. So definitely be careful with that. I'm not sure what we'll do for your warranty. You might want to think about that possibly before you buy this. But I did the corner sharpness test. I looked at the video. I really can't see any difference in the quality of the video. I didn't see any flaring. I didn't see anything that makes me think that this was some sort of cheap aftermarket lens. In fact, it looks like the quality is actually really, really good. So if you have a ZV-1 and you want to kind of get a wider field of view, one thing it does kind of do is take away the pocketability. So I took this with me to Walt Disney World, and even with this microphone, I could stick it in my pocket. With this on there, it might be a little tougher to get into your pocket. If you have big pockets, you might be able to do it, but you can always just get a small bag and bring it in. Again, you don't want to make sure that you take it off and on, and don't stress out the motors, so don't have the motors zoom or turn on or off with this on. I think for $50, it's a great deal. It's definitely going to come with me whenever I get to travel again, whichever trips I go on, hopefully back to Walt Disney World, maybe Myrtle Beach, who knows. But again, $50, not only does it give you a wide angle lens, but it gives you a macro lens. And then I'll definitely use this for photography. I don't know how much I'll use the macro for video, but for photography, I'm definitely going to be using this. So it makes the camera, in my opinion, much more flexible. Hope you enjoyed that review of the Ulanzi WL1. I said it wrong in the field. It's a WL1. It's $50, or I got it for $50 on Amazon. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I certainly appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and I will talk at you again in the next video.